Alright people, so I'm here with another investigation into the 9/11 attacks. And today I'm going to look at the Able Danger program done by the US government. This program was basically done to, try to identify terrorism and terrorists around the world. And there's been question to whether they identified the 9/11 terrorists before 9/11. And there are many people who say yes, who worked in the 9/11, worked in Able Danger, and said, yeah, Able Danger did identify Mohammed Atta, who was a lead hijacker in the 9/11 attacks. So there's many articles here. I got 4 articles here, 3 of them in which people are coming out and accusing the government of identifying Atta before 9/11. I also have another one. This is pretty much the government's rebuttal to what the whistleblowers have said. Pretty much, that's what I sort of call them, whistleblowers, because people don't just come out and say shit against 9/11. Especially popular people or people in the government. They just don't speak out on 9/11 to get attention or to look cool or anything like that. Because one, if you speak out against 9/11, most likely you're going to be demonized and hated. Because 9/11 is such a topic that's just, you can't question it, you can't touch, you can't claim it was an inside job, or else you're gonna get just fucking shitted on pretty much. And also they will get attacked by the government themselves. They will I will get to that later to explain how the people who spoke out against this were harassed by the government and even lost their job. One of the people actually lost their job over it. So the first article we're going to get to here is from CNN.com. It reads, Specter, who was, I believe he was a Senate person for Pennsylvania. He was in the Senate for Pennsylvania. Pentagon may be obstructing committee. So basically he talks about how, I'll read the headline here. The headline is Pentagon may be obstructing committee, but then it has a sub-headline, I guess that's what you would call it. I'm just going to read little passages from here. I got some stuff highlighted. So the Department of Defense ordered 5 key witnesses not to testify about a secret Pentagon unit that some claimed identified several of the 9/11 hijackers more than a year before the attacks, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Arlen Specter said Wednesday. So why is the Department of Defense telling people not to testify about, something they saw? It's like, that should raise question right there. Then Specter says, that looks to me as it may be obstruction of the committee's activities. And yeah, obviously, like, they can't tell you, they shouldn't be telling you who, like, who you can, like, who can testify or not, just so, the story will be changed. Because if people don't testify and give their witness account, then obviously the story will be changed. Yeah, and let's move down here towards the bottom. At Wednesday's hearings, attorney Mark Zay testified that his clients, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, who was basically the main guy, the main person who spoke out against Able Danger, testified that his client, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, and his defense contractor, James Smith, had been prevented from testifying. Schaefer and Smith contend that Able Danger used data mining techniques to identify 4 of the September 11th hijackers, including Mohammed Atta, and at least one chart existed that featured a photograph of Atta. So why are these people being prevented from testifying? Obviously the government doesn't want, the truth to be heard. Also testifying Wednesday was a former defense intelligence analyst, Eric Kleinsmith, who said he helped support Able Danger in 1999 and 2000. He testified that in April of 2000 his work became severely restricted and ultimately shut down due to intelligence oversight concerns, which led to the destruction of very large amounts of data about Able Danger, including information about Atta and other terrorists. So you not only get people saying that that Able Danger identified the terrorists, you get people saying that they destroyed information about Atta. So that's a very interesting article there. And I will try to post all the articles that I use in this in my videos in the description below. I might forget, but yeah, very interesting article here from CNN.com. I'm not praising CNN.com. A lot of these mainstream news sites they do a horrible job at watching the government and exposing the government. They do a horrible job at it. But a lot of people still trust the mainstream news, and if I get an article from an alternative news source, not a lot of people will trust me. And when you get mainstream news exposing the government like this, it's probably legit, because the mainstream news is in bed with the government pretty much and doesn't do anything to expose them. Next article here is from the Associated Press, and basically says this Weldon guy who was a representative from also Pennsylvania, it looks like. It says he said Able Danger identified Atta 13 times. I'll read the article here. Pre-September 11th, intelligence conducted by a secret military unit identified terrorist ringleader Mohammed Atta 13 different times, a congressman said Tuesday. During a Capitol Hill news conference, where Representative Kurt Weldon said the unit, codenamed Able Danger, also identified a problem in Yemen 2 weeks before the attack on the USS Cole. It knew the problem was tied into the port of Aden and involved a U.S. platform, but the ship commander was not made aware of it, Weldon said. The suicide bombing of the Cole killed 17 sailors on October 12, 2000. If anyone had told the Cole's commander that there was any indication of a problem in Aden, he would not have gone there, Weldon told reporters. He had no clue. Since August, Weldon, vice chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, has pushed Congress and the Pentagon to investigate the workings of Able Danger, which used data mining to identify links that might indicate the working of terrorists. If he is correct, it would change the timeline for when the government officials first became aware of Atta's links to Al-Qaeda. So you not only get somebody saying that, yeah, Atta was identified 13 times, by the way he said that. He also talks about the USS Cole and said that could have been prevented too. Or at least, let the commander know about it. So, I mean, you got multiple whistleblowers talking about different aspects of Able Danger and how how the information of it was suppressed and, covered up pretty much. And now we get another article here. This one's from Fox News. Says, let me read it here. Exclusive. Witness in Defense Department report suggests cover-up of 9/11 findings. At least 5 witnesses questioned by the Defense Department's Inspector General told Fox News that their statements were distorted by investigators in the final IG's report, or left out key information backing up assertions that lead hijacker Mohammed Atta was identified a year before 9/11. So you get people saying, that their testimonies to this were distorted, which means change. You can't change what a person says. That's just bullshit right there. The witnesses told Fox News she was interviewed twice by a Defense Department investigator. She told the investigator that it was highly likely that a department database included the picture of Atta, whom she knew was under an alias Mohammed El-Sayed. When it came to the picture, the investigator was fairly hostile, the witness told Fox News. She said it seemed the investigator just didn't want to hear it. So, when you speak out against the government, you get attacked. You get, the investigator, she said, becomes hostile. The IG report didn't accurately reflect her statements to investigators, she said, adding that she doesn't think the investigator simply misunderstood her. So she's basically saying, the person she was talking to, she doesn't think that, the person just didn't understand her. She thinks that the person understood her and, didn't want to hear any of it, didn't want to hear that Atta was identified. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer, an operative involved with Able Danger, said he was interviewed 3 times by defense investigators. He claims it was an effort to wear down the witnesses and intimidate them. 2 other witnesses, one military contractor and the other a retired military officer, said they had the same experience. The 2 other witnesses spoke to Fox News on the condition of anonymity. Anonymity? I don't know how to fucking say the word. That means, they don't want their names to be put out. Because they said they feared retaliation. So these people don't even want their names put out because they don't want, to be attacked by the government. Or, to be criticized. Maybe, you know, they're scared. You know, speaking out against something the government does, you know, you have to fear retaliation from the government now. A fifth witness told Fox that statements to investigators were ignored. So you got 5 people, it looks like, coming out and just saying able danger, you know, just 5 witnesses saying that their testimonies were, you know, or their interviews with other people were, they were, you know, being intimidated, they were distorted, you know, just a lot of bullshit here. My last interview was very hostile, Schaefer told Fox News last month before he ordered the department not to discuss portions of his book, Operation Dark Heart, which included a chapter on the Able Danger data mining project. The big picture was not ATA, not so much the chart, Schaefer said. The fact is that we had a pre-9/11 Department of Defense operation focused on taking action against Al-Qaeda globally. So he's saying not only did they identify ATA, you know, witnesses say they identified ATA, but this project, or this, you know, this Able Danger was an operation focused on taking action against Al-Qaeda globally. So that's very interesting there. Specifically, the Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA, wanted the removal of references to a meeting between Schaefer and the executive director of the 9/11 Commission, Philip Zelikow, removed. Schaefer alleges that in the meeting, which took place in Afghanistan, the Commission was told about Able Danger in the identification of ATA before the attacks. Schaefer, who was undercover at the time, said there was stunned silence at the meeting. No mention of this was made in the 9/11 Commission. Dr. Philip Zelikow approached me in the corner of the room. What you said today is very important. I need to get in touch with me as soon as you return from your deployment here in Afghanistan, Schaefer said. Once back in the U.S., Schaefer says he contacted the Commission, but without explanation, the Commission was no longer interested. So he basically says, yeah, you know, he's talking to the 9/11 Commission members, said, we identified ATA, then they decided to you know, they were going to meet up again, and then when they got back, you know, Schaefer called them up and said they're no longer interested. And I also find this thing very interesting here in the article. Last month, the Department of Defense took the highly unusual step of buying and destroying 9,500 copies of Schaefer's book, Operation Dark Heart, at a cost of $47,000 to U.S. taxpayers. So my money was used to destroy somebody else's book. What kind of bullshit is that? When asked whether the Defense Department stood behind the IG report findings, Colonel Dave Lappin, the acting Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, said in a statement to Fox News dated October 6, the investigation found that prior to September 11, 2001, Able Danger team members did not identify ATA or any other 9/11 hijacker. While 4 witnesses claimed to have seen a chart depicting Mohammed Atta and possibly other hijacker or cells involved in 9/11, the investigation determined that their recollections were not accurate. So yeah, just 4 people, you know, all saying the same thing pretty much. Yep, they're not accurate. You know, they're just stupid. You know, just people coming out, a lot of people coming out saying Able Danger was, identified ATA, but people are, just calling him crazy pretty much. As for retaliation against Schaefer, who said he lost his security clearance as a result of speaking about Able Danger, Lappin said the investigation found that DIA officials did not reprise against Schaefer in either a civilian or military capacity for anything he said about Able Danger. And then it goes on to say he got it. You know, they took away his military clearance or something like that, but then he got it back because they found that the reason they took it away was not good. You know, which is fucking stupid. You know, so he got his, what's it called here? He got his security clearance taken away, and then he got it back. It goes on to say there was no basis for punitive action and that should be dealt with immediately, or that should be dealt with administratively. The decision cleared the way for Schaefer's promotion and his current good standing in the Army Reserve. So Schaefer pretty much got his job back. You know, and he was in good standing after it. You know, because they found that the reason that they took away his security clearance was not legit. So I'm gonna cover this one in a separate video because I'm getting towards my 15-minute time limit. So there you go, people.